Sainte Anne. I think Schaefer and I are actually going to New York City for the night. So once again, rather than just giving you 16 hours worth of road trip footage, we filmed a little Q&A with Jordi in Snowshoe. So we'll have some Q&A, and by the time that's done, we'll be in Mont Sainte Anne. So
we're here in beautiful Mont Sainte Anne.
Beautiful Mont Sainte Anne. We got loads of questions.
Oh, man.
And dare I say, some real good ones.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
There was quite a few questions about the RAD program. Could you explain A, what the RAD program is, and B, how do you choose riders to test stuff?
That's a great question, whoever.
Good work, everyone.
RAD is Racing Application and Development. And it's just a test program for stuff that we want to explore. It could be future production. It could be absolutely pointless waste of time. It could be just to prove a point of some specific thing. So you never know. And what was the second part of the question?
How do you pick athletes that are a good fit?
Oh, yeah. That depends. Depends on the project. If it's something that's quite far along and we know it's going to be used in the future, then normally we'll pick somebody that we think it's going to benefit, maybe series leader or something like that. If it's more of a development project like Nico's running, we'll pick somebody that we know can handle the pressure of dealing with an unknown. So it really depends on what the project is, what time of season it is, and how racing's going.
Is the RAD cartridge that you were testing this week going to be used in all Fox Forks when it's released?
I don't know. It's a RAD project.
Nice. What's the best and worst rental cars you've ever had?
Dang. I'm a big fan. Well, if you're in the US, a minivan is hard to beat. Like a nice stow and go.
Yeah.
They're fast, they're quiet, super comfy. In Europe, big fan of the Ford Transit in Europe. Definitely not in the States, but the Euro ones are pretty good. Lots of room, pretty comfy. Man, the worst was actually that car I had in Andorra. It was a Jeep Compass hybrid, I think. And it had a 5-gallon fuel tank. It was such a gutless turd.
Oh.
And the battery would last like 15 minutes maybe.
Oh my God.
And then you had a 5-gallon tank, so you were filling it every couple of hours.
It was actually a 5-gallon tank.
5 gallons. I was like, why do I keep running out of gas so fast? Oh, this is really, really dumb.
Oh.
But I've had some turd rental cars in Europe for sure. US, you always get something big almost all the time. Like we have a huge Ford Excursion here. It's so comfy and nice. Always has Apple Play. Always has cruise control. That's the shittiest part, is when you get a rental car with no cruise control in Europe. But I think that's less and less now.
After a big crash, thankfully most of the riders are able to jump back on and get to the finish. But what safety inspections do the mechanics do before they get back out there? And what should the average rider check after a big off?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to ask the mechanics what they do. I'm sure each one has a different protocol. And what should you do? I think you should... I think if you're asking that question, you probably shouldn't. You should just take it to a shop. Because like, if you have to ask what I should look at when I crashed, you either hit your head or you're not capable of figuring it out.
I love that.
It's the most Jordi answer ever. Considering the last 5 years, what was or is, in your opinion, the single biggest change in suspension technology or bike geometry that had a huge and long-lasting effect on bike handling?
5 years. I don't Man, that's a hard one because things have changed, but they also changed for the worse. I think maybe 5 years ago, like this whole super long, super low, super slack thing took over for a while, and now people are figuring out that maybe that's not ideal, but there's other things going on with geometry that are getting better and better. I don't think there's any one revolution in suspension or geometry. It's really just small changes, and maybe the revolution is people are actually thinking about geometry instead of just building bikes to look cool. And suspension wise, again, there's no revolutions. It's all just learning and documenting and really building things based on science rather than form. So I don't think there is a huge revolution in the last 5 years. I think it's all evolution.
Damn.
Whoa, dude. Oh, evolution, not revolution.
Damn you, Schaefer.
Can settings from one fork be transferred to another? Not pressures, just clicks, i.e. a 36 to a 38.
I mean, you kind of answered it yourself when you said not pressures, because pressure and rebound are closely related. So you could, but why? If you figured out one, why don't you just figure out the other one?
Where should someone start if they're having serious hand fatigue problems? What are some potential solutions?
You should start back at the beginning, like we lay out every time. There's a process. Go through it, or go to the gym, or both. I mean, it can, like, if you're soft, nothing's gonna help, but otherwise you just need to follow the steps. There is no magic. There is no special way for this bike. There's no special way for that bike. There's no special way because I do this. You just follow the steps that we lay out a few hundred times in a year.
If you could have a magic dial that would adjust anything you want, what would you have it adjust?
People's voices.
Wow. Good answer. That would be bliss. Except you would just mute everyone.
Or a Vuvuzela button.
Oh.
You can just turn off Vuvuzelas.
When should we release the pressure from the lowers? Bottom or top of the ride?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. It doesn't, honestly, these things don't matter so much. What matters so much is doing it consistently. If you release it at the bottom, it'll have a bit of pressure built up at the top. If you release it at the top, it could be slightly negative at the bottom. You don't need to overthink these things. You just need to do things consistently.
What's next?
We're breaking down as we speak, loading everything up. And I think we're gonna try to make 4 or 5 hours tonight, and then 10, 11 hours tomorrow, and get to Mont Sainte Anne on Monday, and then set up Tuesday morning. Woo!
Woo!
It's a big drive.
Yeah.
But whatevs. Last race. At least we're not flying back to Europe afterwards.
Yeah. Oh
We're
my
all
gosh.
going home.
That's the best.
I'm gonna find my van, find the dogs, find my bike, find some health,
No kidding.
drink good coffee and MSA.
Yeah.
Oof. Bad food, good coffee.
Yeah.
So we're good.
We are good.
We are good.
We're good.
If you could have any animal sit on your shoulder for the rest of your life, what animal would you pick?
It'd be the same as like my spirit animal one. I think I'd have a raccoon. Like they're super dexterous. They could hold stuff. You'd be like, here, hold my snacks. You'd probably eat them though. They could easily adjust like your hat or hold your sunglasses on. Or like, they're super functional. Way more than a parrot. They would just shit on you and scream.
That's true.
I grew up with parrots. super obnoxious.
Oh, and when you go mountain biking, you give them a little leather hat with goggles.
Yes. There used to be a guy in Aptos that would drive around with a raccoon hanging, like the raccoon would sit on a side view mirror of his truck. He'd just cruise around.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's where my raccoon infatuation started.
That's so cool.
Damn. Pickup truck and a raccoon.